Okay, this is gonna be my last time talking about this. This is my testimony, and I'm not against going on podcasts and talking about it, or if anybody wants to inquire more about me or invite me on a video. I don't care. It's just for personally for me, I'm not gonna make this video again unless I have more to talk about. But it's just because it's a lot, and I already have a video on it. I'm just remaking this one so I can get more views. Maybe I don't know. God willing. Anyways, I've had testimonies. I didn't think they were testimonies. I just thought they were little experiences, but everybody experiences paranormal activity here and there. But apparently it could be a testimony because I heard from somebody they were just crying out to God, and then they felt love, and that was their testimony. And I'm like, hey, if that's a testimony, then the ones I have are, they're nothing vivid right off the bat. It's nothing like Queen or nothing like these people that you see on these podcasts that have real like hell experiences. Mine are more little feelings and little visions. I'll get to one later about the rapture. But I try to explain the most in vivid detail. I'm a detail guy. I love details. I even when I ask questions, I want to know like down to the root. So I like to explain things as thoroughly as possible with what little I've been given. So I'll start off with the one that I would say kicked off everything. I was having little experiences when I was younger of like ghosts, I would say, and it was never anything crazy. I guess the first one that really kicked things off was when I was like in fourth grade, and I was asleep. Right, I was knocked out. Behind me, there was a bunk bed, and it was one on the bottom, one on the top. My stepbrother was on the bottom. I was on the top. I was on the top. I was falling asleep facing the door, and I woke up. I'd say around 12, and I saw this caterpillar-looking thing, about this big. If I don't know how this big, this is about like 12 inches. Only got about 12 inches. It was a thick caterpillar. It looked like the hairy caterpillars, but it had spikes. It was on the roof coming towards me, and when I saw it, it started shaking violently, and then it made like a rattling sound, like a rattling, like it was hissing and rattling at the same time. And as it did that, it disappeared like an Enderman in Minecraft. And I was just checking if my door's locked because they're gonna barge in, and I'm living with my family. That's the first experience I saw with a caterpillar. And then after that, I didn't have anything else. I thought I was tripping at first because hallucinations are a real thing. That wasn't. I know what I saw. The second one was I was falling asleep, and as I was dozing off, this is when I was at the bottom because my stepbrother, moved out or something like that, and I was on the bottom, and then I saw the spirit of my sister. Like it took the form of my sister. It walked in here. It was translucent, like it was water bottle. It was about the same color as a clear water bottle. Maybe a hint of bluish, a hint of green. It was like a light teal hue. Is that teal? Teal's a color? I don't know. And she walked through, and as she was tying her hair like up in a ponytail, and as she was turning around, she faded before I could fully see her face. That was the second experience. Now it's like, oh, those ain't crazy. Hang on now. This is where the third experience comes in. One night, people have had this before too. You ever close your eyes when you're trying to sleep and a bunch of like scary, horrific images flash into your head? Yeah, that's what happened to me. I couldn't sleep. I just kept, my hair looks like I'm a crazy scientist. A bunch of these images were flashing into my head. And so, like, primarily Doom images. They look like Doom, like that one eyeball thing, that creature. Probably a real thing too. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I can't tell you verbatim. But stuff like that, and like other like fish that look demonic. I'm assuming what I was probably seeing was Nephilim creations from the book of Genesis. That's my guess, but it could be completely just random. I don't know. Anyways, I was seeing these images in my head, and I was like, I'm gonna thug it out, I'm gonna thug it out, I'm gonna thug it out. And then I finally said, you know what? I don't care. So I laid down on my bed, and then I had a vision. Not asleep. I was half asleep, half awake. I had a vision. I was in a dark area. You don't feel anything. This Native American guy wearing a skull, a human skull, like it was the top teeth, right? But the bottom are gone. It was just a human skull. It was wearing it on his face. He had a club with a skull on it. Walked over, full of feathers, Aztec. Leaned over to the side and said, "This is boring." I took that as, oh, it gave up on me because I'm tough. I'm like that. It wanted me to think that. The demons wanted me to think that. Hell wanted me to think that. They wanted me to think I'm good on my own. I don't need God. This is where it comes in. The first experience I truly had where I was humbled was It was a vision. It was a dream vision. And I call it a vision. You'll see why. I was John F. Kennedy in this dream. Whoa. What? Yeah. John F. Kennedy in this dream. I was in Houston. And I was in a carriage, like an open carriage. I was like waving hi to people, you know what I mean? And little kids on the street, parents, whatever. And I look up on this building. It's a hotel. It's a beige building with a bunch of windows. It was on the corner. You know how it's the hotel, and then it has like a corner that sticks out. Yeah, it had a corner that stuck out. And when I looked at that corner, this is about 14 stories high. I saw this demon. It was the Baphomet, the one on the as above, so below. That pentagram stuff, that goat head. It was that thing, the actual thing, Baphomet. 14 feet tall. I don't know how I know. You just know these things. I'm not good with measurements. If you tell me, hey, that looks like it's 20 feet, I can't tell you if it's 20 feet or not. I'm not good at measurements with eyeball. Where I was at in this position, I knew it was 14 feet tall. Maybe 14, 15 feet tall. Definitely 14 feet. Around that ballpark. I'm 90% sure 14 feet. It was pitch black, darker than this mic. Like this, the outline of this. It's darker than black. And you know how they say you can feel it? I'll explain the feeling right now because I like to go into detail. But I'm explaining the appearance of it. It was all black. I could see the outlines. It didn't look female, though. This one looked more male. It had like a flat chest. But it was all black. And it saw me, but it was standing there. I think it was crouched. It was hunched over like the Spider-Man position. Not saying that Spider-Man's demonic. But it was hunched over like the Spider-Man position, you know, on that light pole. And then it stood up. And either it stood up or it stayed there. I'm not too sure on the details. What I remember is the look of it. It was there. I think it was standing up. 14, yeah. Obviously, how am I going to tell it's 14 feet tall if it's not standing? Okay, it was standing. Yeah, I'm getting corrected. It was standing, and its eyes were white. That was the only thing you could see. It was pitch black, darker than black. Vanted black is not even darker than this. This is the darkest it could ever get. This is a black you cannot replicate. And the only things that you could see, aside from the outline of its body, this is broad daylight, by the way. This is probably like 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. in the afternoon. It was there on the corner, 14 feet tall, pitch black, with white eyes. That's the only thing I could see, white eyes. And I didn't look back. I couldn't look. My eyes were fixated on it. But I knew everybody around me disappeared like that. Gone. I was by myself. The only thing I felt from this thing was death, despair, destruction. This thing I felt absolute hatred from it. Absolute hatred. You ever been so mad that you almost cried? It's that magnified. But you're not having that feeling. You're feeling that from it. Eternally. One of the first things that kicks in is, I'm here on my own. I did this to myself. That's why I'm here. I'm in this position because I did it. That's the first thing that popped in my head. I'm here because I did it. And when I looked at this thing and I felt that hatred, it's a hatred you cannot replicate. It is cold and it is dark. When they say darkness you can feel, I mean, because some people talk about the darkness in hell being alive. I never got that far. But the hatred is a darkness you can feel. I think that's what they're trying to say, but maybe not. I mean, the darkness is really alive in hell. Okay, I'm going to get back to what I'm saying because I'm getting off track. What I felt was the darkness, obviously darker than black, but you could feel it because it was cold and it was like reaching out with its hatred. I could feel the hatred. Like in Bleach when, you know, there's spiritual pressure. It was that magnified. It was literally that spiritual pressure stuff. All I felt was hatred. I was frozen in place. You know how when you go to a concert or when you're near a band playing and they're playing the drums and it's loud music, it kind of vibrates your heart a little. That little bass. Oh, especially when you're on the bass of a truck and the bass is really loud. You feel like, you know, like, and it vibrates your heart. That's how your heart beats. That's how strong this hatred is. You are scared. You're beyond fear. You are in despair. You are in absolute despair. And the only thing you feel because of despair is regret of not changing your ways. And when I say destruction and death, I mean this thing, when I was looking at it, it was giving off the feeling of, I'm going to kill you. And I'm going to do it again and again and again. That's what I mean by death and destruction. And that's what it wanted to bring to me. The despair was on my end. The fear was on my end. You are frozen in fear. And when I said that bass is like it's rattling your heart, that's how your heart beats. That's how scared you're going to be. Your heart don't even beat. It vibrates. And that's because I wasn't even in hell. It was just a vision. This was a dream. but I was already feeling part of what you feel down there. Obviously, it's probably more magnified down there. I ain't have a testimony of hell, and I don't want to either. But that's what I felt. I saw the actual Bathman, and that's exactly what I felt. The next one was, it was underneath this desk. Actually, I was asleep. I was having sleep paralysis. Funny, man, funny. I won't get into the details of what happened on the sleep paralysis. Nothing bad happened, but basically, I wake up. I like the position of it, but basically, I'm on my bed back here, face down. I'm gonna get into the detail. I was face down, but that whole night I was tossing and turning. I couldn't sleep, and I said, "Oh man, it's it would really suck if I had sleep paralysis when I'm in the most oddliest looking position. My booty was up. I was face down, stomach down, with the leg up." And I was like, this would really suck if I got sleep paralysis. What do you know? I get sleep paralysis in that position. So I'm on my bed, and I feel something underneath this desk. It feels like a spirit of it's an evil spirit, but it feels like a woman. Obviously, it was a demon, but I knew it was a woman, like trying to take the form of a woman. And this happens in dreams, by the way. I'm gonna go slightly off rail. If you're in a dream and some room in your area looks darker than usual, when you're in sleep paralysis, it's an area in your room looks darker than usual, like a pitch black that you could feel. What I mean by feel is when you feel the darkness, you feel fear coming from that one particular spot. That's how you know it's a demon. That's how you know it's demonic. Not all sleep paralysis is demonic. I will say that can happen. If you wake up when your brain's still half asleep, you get sleep paralysis. But if you feel something in the corner of your room, but you can't see it, sometimes you can't see it, it's demonic. Also, light don't work in these demonic dreams. Get your flashlight, try turning it on, it won't work. Let's say you do get your flashlight to turn on. It won't travel past where it's lighting up on the phone. So the little lens that holds the flashlight, that's gonna be the only thing illuminated, like your phone screen. It's not gonna travel, and I think it don't travel because light don't travel in hell. So when it's demonic, you're getting part of hell. Or you're seeing part of hell. So that's why light don't travel. Light don't travel in hell. So try that in your dreams if you ever have that. That's how you know it's demonic. Anyways, I'm in my bed. I get a sleep paralysis, and I feel a presence here underneath the desk. It's the presence of an evil woman. So I try turning around. This is when I wasn't really Christian. And I look, and I'm trying to cuss this thing out. I'm trying to show that I'm a Billy Badass. I'm a Timmy Tough Knuckles. I would hurt a fly. That's what I'm trying to show it. And I'm I'm over here, right? I'm like face down, and I'm turning around like this, holding myself up with this arm. Well, on the other arm, but you get it. I'm like this, and I'm like, I'm trying to cuss it out. The only words that come out of my mouth are, those are the only words that come out of my mouth. Oh, and then I finally got the cuss words out. I said, F you. As soon as I said that, I heard a get down. Boom, I flung to the wall. That wall right there where that poster's at. I got flung up there, and I said, oh, I'm not about that life. I said, Jesus. Woke up. Like that. Woke up. Exactly what happened. Humbling. I didn't learn anything from that. Well, I did. I think I learned a little bit. I'm like, oh, I'm not about that life. I didn't get scared. The Batman one it didn't scare me either. I was like, that was kind of cool. Right, stupid. It's not cool. It's not cool. That was an experience. And it's like, well, what's the next testimony? Next one, I was at school. This one wasn't demonic. I'm going to explain the love of God to you the best way I can. I didn't even see it. I felt it. Usually, I have football first period, second period, I had math class. This was junior year and of high school. And I got back from math. I caught up with my work, and I had like 45 minutes of just whatever I wanted to do. Read a book, be on my phone, and I decided to sleep. I usually just nap because I'm not a morning guy. I'm catching up on what I missed. By the way, you can't catch up on sleep. That's a lie. You don't catch up on sleep. But I was just trying to get some shut eye in. So I nap. I'm tossing and turning in this nap stage on the desk because they're uncomfortable for like 30 minutes. The last 15 minutes, I'm able to squeak in a nap. I didn't have a dream. But when I woke up, I had the overbearing sense of love. Like, what do you mean? When they say God's love is completely washing and overbearing, it is the exact sense. I'm going to explain that. I could not force... before that. The love feels like a warm hug. It doesn't feel too hot. It doesn't feel too cold. It's just right. Like when you're taking a warm shower, when it's cold out, you're warm. When it's cold and you're underneath the warm blankets in the morning, it is warm. It is like that. You can't. That's the warmness of it. And what it wants you to do, before I even explain how it feels and what you can't do, the only thing you want to do with this love is share it. As soon as you get this love, you want to share it. You want to preach the gospel. You want to talk about God. You want to do this. You only want to talk to people. You want to see people. It makes you want to socialize. Now, the reason why I didn't start preaching is because I wasn't stupid. Just because I had the feeling of that doesn't mean I should go and preach something I'm not too sure about. I don't know a lot about the Bible. I can't recite verses like that. Doesn't mean, just because you can't recite verses doesn't mean that you're ignorant or anything like that. But it just means that I'm not confident in my ability to go and preach because I don't want to twist any words. I don't want to get anything wrong. I think that experience was just God showing me the presence of his love. Now I'm going to get to what you can't do with that. And I'm not saying you can't go and do this and do that. What I mean is the overbearing sense of love is so strong, you can't force a bad thought into your head. I know people like, you guys see these things in heaven, or these heaven testimonies, and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to force a bad thought into my head. You can't. Or you're going to go in heaven and say, what stopped me from doing this? Love. You're not going to be able to. I felt that presence of love. I tried forcing, when I woke up with that immediate presence of love, after pondering what it was for about maybe a few seconds, I'm like, let me test this. I tried forcing the thought of lust into my head. The concept of it, the concept of even thinking or conjuring, the process of conjuring a thought stops right there. You can't get a thought out of anything negative. I tried forcing a thought of lust. The mere process of it ceased, and I forgot what I was even trying to force in my head. So then I tried forcing aggression, couldn't do it. I tried forcing hatred, couldn't do it. I tried saying a cuss word, couldn't do it. You couldn't do anything. I couldn't do nothing. You can't do nothing negative. It doesn't exist. It's not in your vocabulary. It's not in your mind. I knew it existed, but I thought nothing of it. It didn't bother me. It couldn't touch me. Right there, I felt untouchable. I felt protected. There's probably an angel right next to me. That's probably why. I don't know. But you can't force bad thoughts into that. So when you go to heaven, aside from your memory also gets wiped, at least from what I hear. You're not going to be able to force a bad thought. So this thought of, what if I do this in heaven and get kicked out? That's not going to happen. Once you're there, you're there. Now, that was that testimony. The last one was the rapture. I think that's going to happen. If you guys have seen the Messiah 2030, I recommend it. Pretty good. My last one was the rapture. Now, the dream, it's a dream vision. The dream starts off very, I'm going to tell you this right away. The dream I had, the dream, I was given a date and a time, which was 6 a.m. May 25th, which was for this year, which didn't happen, obviously, so I didn't believe it. So take this what you will, but I know what I saw. Obviously the dream starts off like a normal dream, so I'm gonna skip all of that. What ended up happening was me and my buddy were in the car. He was driving, I was in the passenger seat, and there was two girls in the back. We were just hanging out. It was 5 a.m. We were coming back from a back road, and I saw streaks of light. I think it was June, July, I don't know. But I'm not gonna bore you with the time and date because none of that matters. But we were coming back at 5 a.m. in this dream, right? It was cloudy. It looked like a storm was brewing. Sun was barely coming up, but you couldn't see it, right? It was kind of like the little hues of the sun before the actual sun starts rising over. And we saw these streaks of light coming through, and we were like, oh, 4th of July stuff, whatever. We thought they were fireworks at first, but they were going too fast and they were too big, they were too bright. So I went from, oh, they're fireworks to, oh, those are probably jets or shooting stars, because they look like shooting stars. Then I'm like, hey, those are too big, too bright. Obviously, we're in the car. Nobody else knows I'm thinking this because I'm thinking this in my head. And then I'm like, okay, those ain't shooting stars. Those aren't meteors. They're not fireworks. I don't know. It is what it is. I ignored it. As soon as we were doing that and I was talking with my friend, we heard the trumpets. I'll never forget that sound. It is piercing. If you're blind, you're going to see the angels. If you're deaf, you're going to hear the trumpets. You can't smell, you're going to smell this. Exactly. These trumpets you're not going to be able to not hear. You're going to know they happened one way or another. God's going to make sure you know it happened. Anyways, when I saw when the rapture happened in my dream, the sky, right, because we're driving straight, the sky in front of us split open. Literally, it split open. The clouds separated. It wasn't a blue sky. I saw the sky of heaven, golden hue, light everywhere, but there's no sun. And it was like a dimension opened up between Earth, right? This is Earth. It splits open, and then this is heaven. I could see heaven all here, but this is Earth, right? This is Earth. The sky split open to show the dimension of heaven, and I saw the angels. I saw all 7, but I can only see 5 because 2 were behind the clouds. I saw them all holding trumpets, facing this way. They were like this. The way I am on the camera is the way they were. They were like this, and they were blowing trumpets, and it was the tallest one first. But I don't think I think they're all the same height. It just, they were going down. So perspective, feel the perspective, distance, all that, etc. It started with one in the front, and they went further back down. These angels were planetary in size. I would say they were planetary in size, like those Celestials in Marvel. These things were huge. I saw all 7 of them blowing the trumpets, all lined up. And then, when you hear these trumpets, the first thing that you feel in your body is, I'm about to get judged, and you start crying. Now, maybe not all of you. Maybe not all of you. Some of you gonna be happy. But in my dream, I wasn't, which was a wake-up call for me, because I still feel that now. I still feel that same feeling now. I was there in the car like this, and when I heard the trumpets, I was like, oh, oh, oh. And I looked to my left, and the girls behind me, we all started crying loud. We're like, oh, wait, no. Because you know what's going to happen. You had time, but you didn't use it. So now, the time you didn't make up for repentance, you're about to get judged. I don't know why we thought we were going to get judged. We were going to get raptured. I don't know why that happens, actually. That's why I had a vision of the rapture, but I'm not too sure how, I'm not sure if it was godly, but I'm just explaining it. That feeling of I'm about to get judged, it hit me. And then I remember something I was telling God a while back. I said, there's going to be 144,000 people left on the earth. I don't know if they're going to be Christians or not when New Jerusalem comes down. So I was thinking, I want to be one of those people. I want to be on the earth left when I see heaven come down and replace the earth, build anew. I want to be one of those people. So when I was in the car and I was crying, I stopped myself from crying, and I kind of postured myself up, and I said, what am I crying for? I'm going to stay here. Nope. I got raptured. You start slowly. You moving like 2-3 miles an hour, but I went through the roof of the car. You don't even remember it. I don't remember going through the roof of the car, but I just remember I was through the roof of the car, and I was going like 2 or 3 miles an hour, and then about halfway into the sky, boom, you go faster than light. I didn't get to see heaven, but I just knew I got raptured, which is a good thing. And that was it. But going back to those streaks I saw in the sky, those were angels going to pick up people. That's exactly what's going to happen in the rapture. The angels are going to pick up people. Yeah. That's basically my little testimonies right now. I didn't even know there were testimonies. But I mean, I guess now it kind of clicked. It's like, if people can say if people say testimonies are just something minor like that, as long as it brings you to God, then I got a couple of them. And those were the ones that I was going to share. And that's really about it. I mean, I have a video on it already that's like 16 minutes, but I guess I went more in depth on this one. I like trying to go in detail as much as I can. Maybe I didn't go in detail as much as people would like, and if that's the case, hey, let me know, ask questions, and I'll answer them the best I can. But other than that, guys, yeah, this is what I got. I wasn't here to minister, at least not right now. I'm not here to preach, at least not right now. But I'm telling you, these are my experiences. The death, dread, despair of being in the presence of those things that hate you and people worship them, it's silly. It's stupid. It's stupid. In hell, they hate you. They hate you. They hate you. You can't even, if you felt the hatred, it destroys your soul. The worst part is you're given a body fit for destruction in hell. Good luck with that. Some people want to choose hell over heaven. Oh, heaven's going to be boring. Oh, you don't even know that. You don't even know the size of mansions in heaven. That's a whole nother story. Did I see it? Nope. But I know they're huge. Anyways, yep, that's it, guys. That's my testimonies, and let me know what you think. I'll keep you guys updated if I ever have another one. Pieces, guys. God bless.